God, what am I doing? Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel Junkies.
We got our hands on the biggest game of 2020. Probably the biggest game of the decade. 7 years in the making.
Is it just 7 years?
It was 2014 was when it was first. No, 2013.
Was it? I thought it was like 2012.
It was 2013.
Oh my goodness.
8 years in the making. One of the most beloved tabletop franchises ever. Made by a great Polish developer with a very long-standing pedigree in the industry.
I don't know how to change the camera.
We are playing
Cyberpunk.
It is the game, right? This is Cyberpunk.
Oh, this is it?
Oh, man.
CD Projekt Red said nobody's streaming it early, no Let's Plays early. Well,
we got it.
Eat a dick.
I know an especially deranged, Irish bootlegger. And so we were able to get our hands on the biggest game ever.
Yep.
I gotta be honest, art style is a little bit different than I remember.
Yeah, there was a bit of a downgrade from E3.
Do you think that's why they were taking so long? It's like, we gotta downgrade the art so we can get the game out.
Yeah, and you know, they delayed it as well so that people kind of forgot about what it was.
Oh yeah.
So
I remember when they were like Cyberpunk, and I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
I remember that game, and they're like, well, we announced it like 5 years ago, and I was like, did you? What happened 5 years ago? I was fatter then.
5 years ago, I don't know. Star Wars was still not bad.
Hey, now the Mandalorian is saving Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Clone Wars is good.
It's trying. All right, come on, V. Let's explore Night City in our Quadra. Whoever makes that in Cyberpunk lore. No idea.
I'm getting some Fifth Element vibes out of this, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, where's Mila Jovovich? That's
That's her name, yep. You got it.
Is it a silent J?
I don't know how it's pronounced, I just know that you didn't do it.
Oh. Hey. Can I drive fast? Oh. There we go. Oh, I gotta park.
You haven't gotten the Sonic yet.
I gotta park on a Sonnet.
I said Sonic.
Oh. Oh, I can do.
Vehicle.
Ridley Scott said I had to park in a specific place. How do I play in first person?
View. Oh, okay.
How do I play in first person?
Man, you're a robot.
Oh, there we go. Nope, that didn't work. There we go. Now I'm first person.
Haha.
Now we're Night City.
Oh man, pick up payload.
What does it keep telling me? I got a blue flower. I don't give a shit.
FC, this is going to the marrow.
Car F14 FC.
My name is V, asshole. Hey, how's it going?
Jesus. I remember the people in the city looking so terrible.
Yeah, this game looked a lot better in the trailers, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Look, everything looks like it's made it. Hang on a second. That says Cloudpunk.
Who?
Never mind.
Oh, I thought that was just the organization you work for in this.
Oh, I see. Is that also the organization that means we have to keep this bit going?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Yeah. All joking aside, this game looks pretty good.
Yeah. And, you know, if it wasn't entirely obvious, the game is Cloudpunk.
Yeah.
Which is not anything even remotely on the same scope as Cyberpunk. But Cyberpunk's not out yet. Even when this... Actually, I guess it will be when this video comes out.
Yeah.
So, never mind what I said earlier. Playing it early was not a thing, because for some reason, I pictured this coming out on Wednesday, but...
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's an embargo, isn't there? On footage?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's an embargo on, like, specific gameplay, because I mean, there's obviously gameplay out already, but there is no gameplay before it comes out on Wednesday night. No streams, no Let's Plays, none.
At which point? So, at what point is Anakin gonna like leap on the roof of your car and try to kill the shape changer?
I think it said Ant.
Anakin.
I was like, who's my aunt?
You know, in that really exciting scene from Episode 2.
Yeah, where he's like, I'd rather jump out of the car and not be able to control where I'm going instead of driving in this car.
I forget what review it was. It might have been either Mr. Plunkett's review of Episode 2 or Cosmonaut Variety Hour or Cosmonaut Variety Picture Show, whatever that YouTube channel is called.
Sure.
Where they were talking about Episode 2 and how convoluted the plot to assassinate Padme is. And he's like, okay, so you have the guy Newt Gunray of the Trade Federation wants to kill Padme, but instead of doing it himself or getting one of his battle droids to do it, he subcontracts it out to Count Dooku, who then subcontracts it out to Jango Fett, who then subcontracts it out to, I forget what her name is, the shape changer, Zim, whatever the fuck her name is. Who then subcontracts it out to a droid, who then subcontracts it out to two centipedes.
God damn it, stop opening that.
That was a good scene, though.
Yeah, it's just dumb that Django's like, I'm gonna use this super hyper rare dart that only comes from one very specific spot to kill the person that could potentially reveal information about who I am. And give them a very obvious lead as to how to find me.
As opposed to a blaster bolt. Also, why wasn't Django standing by to take out Padme? Like, oh, cool, the two Jedi just took the fuck off. Anyway, here I am with my sniper rifle.
And then go to the spot where you know the Jedi are going to show up at because you fucking shot him with a Camino dart.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do I do things?
Do you think he's going through, like when he lands on Camino, and he's like, Boba.
Oh my god.
Time to polish my famed complete collection of Camino darts. He looks there, he's like, 1, 2, 3. Where's number 4? He looks at his gun, he's like, oh shit, I used a Camino dart, not a regular one. God shit. Well, it's fine, they probably won't be able to trace it back. Camino, they said, was erased from the records. Like, Master Jango Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Jedi Knight, has arrived and is asking to speak with you. He's like, fuck! Oh man, we gotta get out of here! Boba, pack everything!
Yeah, and then I like that even in that situation, why did it change my shit again? He did pretty much nothing to hide the fact that it was him in the armor.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna leave the door open so you can see it on the floor. I'm out of battery. This is a Cyberpunk battery. I'm just pooping the garbage. Sweet.
Also, like how the sweet deflections he made in that scene. He's like, do you ever make your way, you're bounty hunter, you're very far traveled, I am. It's like, have you ever make your way far in this Coruscant? Once or twice? Recently? Possibly? Oh, man.
Yeah.
What does the kid say? Sus?
Yeah. I would like to see how, like, the Clone Wars, specifically Dave Filoni would have written that. How did the Jedi figure out about Camino? I know, let's have him use a very specific dart and not hide the fact that it was him the whole time.
It doesn't exist in the Jedi records. It must not exist.
Is he like cockeyed, or is this a weird fucking reflection on his glasses? Give me that sweet side eye.
The little portrait that he's got?
Yeah.
Is your are you the cloaked woman?
Yeah, I'm V or whatever. I don't know what my name is in this. Yeah, I don't care. Come on.
V for Valentine.
Yeah, okay, dude. Holy sweet Jesus, man. There's more lines of dialogue than Cyberpunk.
Man, he took off. Where the fuck did he go? Activate rocket boots.
Anyway, I need you to go find whatever it is, fucking some power upgrade that they have in Cyberpunk that makes you jump real fast or whatever. Let me buy stuff. Oh my god, shut up, old man.
Also, I like how the Jedi, Obi-Wan finds out that Count Dooku is a Sith from. He's like, I was hired by a man named Lord Tyrannus on you know, whatever, and Obi-Wan's like, oh, that's interesting. When he finds Count Dooku, he's like, hang on, your name is Lord Tyrannus, and he's like, yep. And then and then he's like, so he finds out that the entire clone army was made by the guy who's also making who's also leading the separatist movement, and it never clues into him that that's a bit suspicious.
No, why would it be suspicious?
It'd be like if the French found out that all of their defensive placements in World War II were made by German companies. Like, hang on a minute, why are our guns shutting down? You're not getting around that guy.
Let me talk to him. Oh, okay, so what we got here. I wanted to see what he had, but old man was talking to me. This guy doesn't look anything like someone who belongs in a cyberpunk world, but...
You know what he looks like? He looks like a QA tester who they put in front of the camera and
Okay.
Help!
There we go. Oh my god, woman. What the fuck?
Holy shit.
What are you wearing? Okay.
You gotta talk to her. I want to see her portrait.
I can't. She doesn't have...
Which sounds a lot dirtier than I meant it to be.
She doesn't have dialogue.
Oh, no.
The Brago's on the inside, ma'am, but I guess it is The future? So sure.
Or it might be the past. It might be like the futuristic year of 1985.
Is this Joker?
Man, that guy's glowing like a blinking beeper.
They have green hair and a purple suit. What do I gotta do? Drive a thing to somewhere. Where's my car?
Also, I like how the woman was a shape changer. She can literally change what she looks like, and then she just tries to take down 2 Jedi with a blaster. Like, no! Hide and run! What the fuck is the matter with you?
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she's a shape changer doesn't really come into it at all. They could have just made her an alien.
Well, the fact that she, like, hides from the Jedi by using a specific look, but then keeps that same look until she dies.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you just change, like, mid-thing or something?
Yeah. Yeah, but no, George Lucas definitely would have been able to write a convoluted, complicated plot line involving Jar Jar Binks as the ultimate bad guy. Yeah, that's definitely within his wheelhouse to be able to do.
So I don't mean, like, how did the original trilogy turn out so much better than the prequels?
From what
is it because George helmed the prequels, like he had way more control?
Yes, that's essentially what happened. Because in the original, back in the day when before Episode 4. Back then it was just known as Star Wars. Before the first Star Wars movie came out in 1977, he showed an advanced copy of the film to Steven Spielberg and I think a few other people, and he asked like, "Oh, Steve, how did you like my movie?" And then Steven Spielberg, who I don't have a good impression of, went, I gotta be honest, George, it was shit. And so what happened was George Lucas's wife at the time, they later divorced. She was the main editor or one of the editors, and so she and the editing team went in and took all the scenes that they had and they rearranged some stuff and they recut some stuff and they cut a lot of stuff out. And it ended up and then when they showed it to Steven Spielberg again, he loved it. He thought it was a great film, and it is. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, didn't they like completely? They changed a number of things, but I think like the fight at the end of the film was vastly different in the edit.
It was, and they also changed how you get introduced to Luke, because Luke is in the original cut of the movie. Luke is they're in the middle of this really interesting space battle between the rebel forces and the evil empire, and then it cuts away to some farmer on the desert looking up with a pair of binoculars at it.
I remember that.
And they're like, that's interesting, and then it cuts away from him again, and then like Darth Vader is doing his thing, search this ship, bring me the prisoners, I want them alive, and then it cuts to Luke and Tashi Station.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so anyway, they cut all that out so you get introduced to Luke when he becomes relevant to the plot, and different stuff like that. So Lucas had a good editing team on him that helped fix up dialogue, fix up the script. Cut out a lot of the middle stuff. But when the prequels came around, I think he was given a lot more creative freedom, and therefore wasn't quite as good, because Lucas does need some support when it comes to filmmaking, because I don't think the guy... I'm not coming down as a prequel hater. I do enjoy the prequels. I love all of them. I know a lot of people don't, but I genuinely have never not loved the prequels. I love them ironically, and I love them unironically.
I enjoyed them when they were new, but rewatching them over and over. 1 and 3 are... Well, 3 more so, but 1 and 3 are... You can get through them. 2 is dog shit.
No, I can even watch 2.
It's so slow and boring.
Yeah, but again, that's an editing problem.
It's an editing problem, but it also has some of the worst fucking dialogue and some of the worst scenes in the movie. The C-3PO in a factory scene is the fucking worst thing in all of Star Wars, including the sequel trilogy.
What, the factory scene?
Yeah, where C-3PO is like in a video game jumping around the conveyor belts. It's just fucking stupid.
It's a shame because Hayden Christensen, Natalie Portman, and Ewan McGregor have been in other stuff, and I've seen them act, and they can turn out an amazing performance, all 3 of them. I just don't think George is capable of getting a good performance out of anybody. In fact, I think the only person in the movies that are able to turn out a good performance are people who have already played the characters. So, like, I forget the guy's name, Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO.
Yeah.
So he's able to get a good performance because he just knows the character. Same with Frank Oz, who did Yoda. Like, he just knows Yoda.
Apparently Anthony Daniels is a dick.
Oh, is he?
Apparently.
Oh,
allegedly. I don't know that that's to be the case, but... he's a bit of an asshole.
But, the only other guy was, who played Palpatine? I forget his name.
Ian McDermott.
McDermott?
It's not McDermott, but it's like that. McDermott or something like that.
I'm sure Aaron will flash it up on the screen.
Yeah. Daramat.
Anyway, he was the only other person who I in my opinion gave out a good performance in those films, because I don't even think he cared. He was like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want. So he just, he's in the middle of a scene and he's like, oh
shit, I got a perk.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him now. I shouldn't. Do it. It's like, man, that guy knew what he was about. Or, it's been a long time coming, my little green friend. Oh, that was a great performance there, Ian. Good job. One take wonder.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, again, I don't want to come down and say, like, oh, the prequels were awful. I love the prequels, and they have a lot of good things about them, but I hate the fact that people are coming in and being like, oh, the prequels are so much better than the sequel series. Kind of in some ways, and in other ways they really aren't. The sequel series has no lines of dialogue that really make me want to pull my own tonsils out.
Well, the prequels and the sequels were bad for different reasons.
Yes.
The prequels are bad because the dialogue and like the character development is non-existent. Like it's well thought out. The story and the progression of the prequels is there. It's just not executed well.
And I would argue the prequels has very interesting world building.
Yeah. The sequels are incredibly well put together. There are some great performances for what they were given.
Yep.
But there was no thought put into the narrative and world building. So,
like, Episode 7, I argue that Episode 7 is a good movie. It is equal in any capacity to the original series, and I stand by that, except for one or two very minor things, but they could have been fixed in the sequels where stuff could have been expanded upon. The only major problem I have with Episode 7 is the pacing is very quick, where they jump, like, Rey and Finn don't have any great amount of time spent together, and yet they act like they're the best of friends.
Yeah.
If it had been clear, like, when they jump to hyperspace in the Falcon for the first time, and then like the stuff breaks out, and then Han Solo comes onto the ship, it would have been a bit better if it had been clear that like 2 or 3 days had passed and they're just hanging out, and all of a sudden like the ship starts breaking down, or like they're in the middle of some repairs and it's very clear that like some time has passed, or
yeah. Or you could just write it differently.
Which I would have done. But there is, Episode 7 has a great meta-narrative that is a great meta-commentary on being a Star Wars fan, and I think it's brilliant for that. It's one of the more brilliant pieces of Star Wars media I've ever seen. But the Episode 8 drops the ball moving forward in certain ways, and I definitely, in like Episode 8, I still maintain has some of the best Star Wars has ever been, and also some of the worst Star Wars has ever been. And then Episode 9 is the only movie I have never rewatched. I watched every other Star Wars movie. I have sat down and rewatched at home. All of the prequels I've watched ad nauseum. All the sequel, all the original trilogy I've watched ad nauseum. I've watched Rogue One a bunch of times. I've even watched Solo a couple of times, and I genuinely think Solo's a much better movie than a lot of people give it credit for. I think it's a good movie. But Episode 9, I just cannot bring myself to sit down and watch that again. I've watched Episode 7 4 or 5 times. I've watched Episode 8 like 2 or 3 times. I just cannot watch Episode 9. Every time I sit down, I know what's coming, and I just turn it off. I've done it, tried 2 or 3 times this year.
It's too, Star Wars, I think, thrives on the fact that it's such a well thought out universe that's so immersive.
Yeah.
And the sequels, especially 9, pull you out of the immersion because it's super evident that 9 in particular, is arguing with everything else the sequels did.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, everything that happened in 8, well, whatever, that's not really important. We're doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why? It's disappointing because there's a lot of stuff there, and
it's because they didn't really have a concrete plan. Like, I'm not saying that George Lucas had a concrete plan when he made the first Star Wars movie, but I definitely think he had one thought out when he wrote Episode 5 and 6, and I definitely think he had one for the prequels. Like, maybe not like everything set in stone, but he had like a narrative thought out.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't suspect that J.J. Abrams didn't do that. He told people he didn't do that because that's not how he writes.
Yeah, and especially, like, you know, obviously George didn't really plan it out because he retconned a ton of shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, moving forward, like, Jabba not being a dude anymore.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that. He went back and obviously made some changes. I would totally be fine with Disney making some changes, but I feel like too many, like, critical elements for the movie's progression hinge on things that, like, you would change, but then you kind of ruin the movie.
Yeah.
Not necessarily ruined because it's already ruined itself, but you know what I mean. Like you can't. You would have to change so much shit. You may as well just remake the movie.
Yeah. Why are we talking about this in this
I
game?
don't know.
Why don't we just flick on like Battlefront?
We could have played anything else.
Yeah. We opened up with a bit about Cyberpunk 2020, proceeded to talk about Star Wars for 20 minutes.
Well,
and we're going to continue to do so because this is an interesting conversation.
How could Cyberpunk improve Star Wars?
No, we're still talking about episode 9.
I don't know what to do. Oh, I need to have a car AI or something.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, those are cracks on my window. I gotta fix my car.
God damn, episode 9 is so fucking disappointing.
Yeah.
That's such. There's so much like even I've read a bunch of the scripts that were made that were tossed out, and because I think they had a bunch of scripts prepared and then they tossed them out and rewrote the movie in like the 11th hour.
Didn't Colin Trevorrow had a script and then he got thrown off the project or something?
Yeah.
Or he left or walked away. I don't know.
And like some of the stuff in the script, I don't like everything, or I would have liked to seen how it would have been done, but I definitely think it's better than what we got. And also, like, there's so much potential for cool scenes in those movies. Like, why the hell didn't we get a Kylo Ren Darth Vader scene or a Kylo Ren Anakin Skywalker scene? That would have been amazing.
I think a large chunk of what ruined the movies, maybe. This is, you know, just me thinking. I don't know that this is for certain. But I do know that there was one key scene changed at the end of 9. And I think that other things may have been changed sort of in that same thought process. And that was China. Disney wanted to make sure that the movie appealed to Chinese markets.
Fuck off with China.
And for some reason, god damn it, I keep pressing the Assassin's Creed Valhalla buttons. The scene at the end where Rey is like, where Palpatine's like, I am all of the Sith. And then Rey's like, well, I'm all the Jedi, and it's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That scene was, they were all supposed to be Force ghosts.
Yeah.
Like Anakin and Obi-Wan, even Ahsoka was supposed to be there.
Yeah, didn't they have people come in?
Yeah, like Ahsoka's voice actor, they came in and did the voice acting. That's why you only hear their voices. Like the voice actor for Ahsoka did her lines as well. Like you can hear them all in that scene.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. I think they might have even filmed it, but they just used their voices.
I mean, and it's not just like the main Jedi. Like you can hear some pretty obscure Jedi. Like you can hear like Plo Koon and like Ki-Adi-Mundi and like Kit Fisto and stuff. Like, unless you're a pretty big Star Wars fan, you're not gonna know who the fuck those characters are.
Yeah. And that would have been a great scene. And I feel like maybe some stuff could have been changed because of, you know, just trying to appeal to all markets, you know?
Yeah, and remember when Kylo Ren just decided to be a good guy again? Kind of, after losing a fight? Is that how that went? I generally can't remember because I haven't watched that movie since. I really should.
I don't necessarily. I think Kylo had the best arc in the trilogy. To be fair,
he did, but
he was the most well thought out aspect of the trilogy.
He was. I'm not denying that. He's certainly more thought out than Rey. Poor fucking Daisy Ridley deserved a much better. Everybody like John Boyega and Oscar Isaacs deserve better than what they got, really, because they're talented people, and their characters as they were set up in Episode 7 had a lot of potential to them. It's just, you know, it was.
I don't think Kylo's shift was abrupt, because I mean, even in Episode 7, he's like, I feel it again, the pull to the light. Like it was, he was conflicted from the beginning.
It's just the character that I wanted, that was presented to me in Episode 7 was not the one that I got in Episode 9.
No.
Because in Episode 7, he was a Darth Vader wannabe. In Episode 8, he was moving away from that. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's becoming his own person, and he's now the Emperor of the First Order, or the Supreme Leader, or whatever the fuck they call it. It'll be interesting to see how this progresses. And then in episode 9, he's back to being bottom bitch, and he's also back to being a Darth Vader wannabe. And it's like, come on, man. It's like what happened to poor fucking Thor in Avengers Endgame or whatever. Like, oh man, do you like all this character development that you went through in Ragnarok? Well, that's right out the window.
It did undo some good stuff, yeah. Which I guess is, again, a product of episode 9 arguing with episode 8.
Also, it's being slowly fixed by the expanded universe, especially stuff like The Mandalorian and some of the novels and stuff. But the world that episode 7 presented is just not as interesting as the expanded universe. It just isn't. Because in episode 7, is essentially what they said is, about a year after the Battle of Endor, or 2 years or 3 years or whatever the fuck it was, we cornered the Empire on Jakku, and we blew the shit out of them, and then that was it. And then, hooray, we've won. Like, oh man, that's boring. Like, obviously, like, good for the New Republic and whatever, but in the expanded universe, it was like, after the Battle of Endor, we then fought a 20-year-long campaign against against the remnants of the Empire. First, the Empire tried to present a unified front, but they couldn't really establish leadership, so it broke apart into small separate sections that we were able to deal with one after another. Then Thrawn came in, and we were able to beat him back barely, and then the Emperor came back as a clone, which was admittedly kind of stupid, but we were able to beat him back, and then we were able to, and then, like, it was just like, it felt natural as the Empire went from this really big oppressive force to, like, big but fractured factions, then a small unified kind of rebel front, to like a resurgent empire, to an even smaller rebel front, to eventually they ended up joining the New Republic. Well, they formed the Galactic Alliance, but that's splitting hairs at this point. But it felt natural, and it was over the course of 20 years. It wasn't just, oh man, we've defeated the Empire because Palpatine shot himself in the foot and said, hey, if I'm ever gone, I want the Empire to destroy itself. And, like, fair enough, that's something that Palpatine would do, but then, like, everybody in the Empire was like, okay, we're gonna blindly follow this order, I guess. It just didn't feel as natural to me. And also, another thing that didn't feel as natural to me, or that really pissed me off, is that the sequel trilogy essentially undid, and it's episode 7, and it's the one thing I really, really don't like about episode 7, is it undid everything that they had achieved in episode 6. Because at the end of episode 6, essentially what had happened is they killed the Emperor, they destroyed the Empire, or they defeated the Empire, whatever. Luke promised to bring back the Jedi Order, and they established the New Republic. And by the end, and by the prequel, and by the midpoint of the sequel trilogy, the Jedi Order is gone again. The Empire is back again. Palpatine is back again, and the New Republic is destroyed again. Like, oh man, nothing mattered.
Yeah.
We had 30 years of peace that we saw off screen that eventually will all get done away by this fucking dog shit travesty.
I don't hate like Jakku or the Battle of Jakku specifically, and more so that how it was presented in Battlefront 2, because I feel like Battlefront 2 actually kind of did some good in that respect, because it was basically once the Emperor dies, shut everything down, go into hiding, like, was it Operation Ember or something? Cinder, yeah, like burn everything to the ground and we'll, like, reset.
And that makes sense. There's a certain aspect that makes sense, but I'm just saying, like, you can't have
I know, and again, it would be better in the EU, but it's not like, it's not irreparable.
No. And
because it's not like they defeated the entire Empire, which I guess is how it's implied in canon.
Because I think what happened is a bunch of people split off and didn't follow Palpatine's order, and I think that's what.
And then you got like splinter groups, and then kind of what you see in Mandalorian,
and that's why I'm saying they're fixing it now. But at the time, it didn't seem like that. At the time, it was the Empire was defeated.
We beat everybody; they're all dead, every single one.
And I agree with you. The Battle of Jakku, as is presented in universe, is a really cool, interesting battle. But I would have preferred, and I'm not saying get rid of it. I just would have preferred a better a context where, like, this is the battle, not necessarily that ended the Empire, but it's the battle. It was the last battle in which the Empire overwhelmed the New Republic. And after that, we were able, like, the Empire just kind of fractured apart, and we were able to deal with the remnants slowly over time.
That's sort of how I view it anyway, even though maybe that's not right. But I feel like you can still get away with it, and it still makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it was the fight where the Empire said, okay, we're taking way too many losses. Let's just surrender, effectively.
Yeah.
Hide. And then, you know, reset.
And, like, that Super Star Destroyer hitting the ground, was it the Ravager or whatever the fuck it was called? That was an awesome scene in the multiplayer maps whenever you got to see that.
Yeah, like, it's cool that that's like a dynamic background thing in the first Battlefront where, presumably in the first Battlefront. I think you see it in the second as well.
No, you don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
For some reason, that's not a thing that happens in the second, even though it was the coolest part of that fucking battle.
I guess, what was her name? Fucking Iden. I guess Iden was too busy running around on the other Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool battle though. I like that. I like it a lot.
It's also like one of the biggest battles you ever see in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because like obviously there's some big battles in the Clone Wars, but this it felt a bit different. Where it was more of like chaotic mess. I just wish that you could do a whole game in Jakku, you know what I mean? Like running around, blasting stuff. I just wish we could have seen more of it. That's my only issue with that I have with Battlefront. Also, more Shiv, please, because he's the best character to come out of that game.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yeah,
fucking sarcastic
asshole. He should
asshole.
show up in canon because he's a great character.
I was really hoping we would see him. He would be like one of the guys in Squadrons.
Yeah.
Like him and General Hera, where like.
Oh shit.
Like if he was like the second in command of what's the name of the squadron? Gladiator?
I can't remember. I only played the first 2 levels and I can't remember.
Because there's Titan Squadron, which is the Imperial faction.
Like Gamma Squad but it is funny actually. I was skimming through some old podcasts and there's one from 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago, where we're talking about like how EA has the Star Wars license and they'll never remake a game like Rogue Squadron. And then we proceed to talk about for like 20 minutes exactly what Squadrons is.
Yeah. To be fair, at the time, it really didn't seem like EA was going to do anything with the license because they hadn't.
It's just funny. It's like, man, it'd be cool. Wouldn't it be cool if you could like walk around in the hangar and look at your ship and actually talk to people on it between missions?
Yeah, Vanguard Squadron.
Vanguard. There you go.
The funny thing about that game, and like they do nail like that's a good game, even though I'm terrible at it. They nail the atmosphere, the difference between the New Republic and the Empire, because the New Republic is all like, we may have lost this battle, but don't worry, we'll get him next time. You flew great out there, kid. We're lucky to have you on the squadron. And you go over to the Empire, and it's like, you failed. Do not let it happen again, or else your life will be forfeit. And then all the people on your squad are like. Their squadron like, don't get in my way or I'll gun you down. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Doesn't everyone want to be friendly on this ship?
Yeah.
Once a friendly Imperial officer.
Yeah, I like to look at like the Empire and it's like, man, how could anybody fight for these guys willingly? But then you look at the US and it's like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because people have a, Jesus Christ, fucking dwarf coming at you.
Oh, hey bud. How's it going? I don't know how to get up there. How do I do that?
You gonna land on the roof? Man, what the hell's happening to the sky? Yeah. The fucking super laser from 7 is gonna about to hit you.
It looks like my colon after I eat Mexican food.
Jesus!
I don't know how to get up there. How do I fucking... Hollow cache? No, that's not it. No, fuck off.
Also, I love I think it was the episode of Division that we were doing where we were making fun of Palpatine. And like him on Exegol for like 30 years, just hanging out, ordering pizza. Nobody can get to the fucking nebula to get to him because it's impossible. What a fucking stupid plan! I know what. Let's make an entire fleet of planet-destroying weapons. I'm like, dude, this is like your 4th planet-destroying weapon plan. It's not gonna work. Just stop.
Yeah, and I like that he has like 4 million fucking Star Destroyers, all with Death Star weapons on it.
Yeah.
But then he has like, again, like, oh, the problem was that we only had 1 gun. Now I have 1 million, except you still have like 1 signal thing that lets all of them take off.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you have 400 in all 400 ships? And then it's impossible.
Like they did that he's getting rebuilt on Exegol, and he's like, I want you to build a fleet of Star Destroyers equipped with a planet-destroying cannon. And the guy's like, you're just dog set on this planet-destroying cannon thing. All right, we'll make it for you, yeah.
Like, why can't... I don't know.
You don't even really need a planet-destroying cannon on a spaceship, because a spaceship has cannons on it. You don't even need to, destroy the whole plane. You just bomb the shit out of stuff from orbit, and that does the job just fine without wasting the planet's resources. It's like it's like the problem that Dragon Ball Z has. We're like, okay, the villains in Dragon Ball went from like, oh, we're pirates to, okay, we're fighting against, some criminal gangs and a military, and then the last guy was like the Demon King, and then oh no, we have evil versions of Goku from space have come, and oh, Frieza is the main bad guy, he's the emperor of the entire universe, and then you beat Frieza. It's like, now where do we go? We literally just beat a dude who can destroy planets with at ease. You kind of can't get bigger stakes now. It's like, well, this guy can wipe out multiple planets. It's like, oh boy. It's like, this guy can wipe out the universe. Like, oh yeah, well, we're gonna wipe out all universes. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, at a certain point, the stakes become irrelevant.
Yeah, and at Star Wars, it started with that fucking planet-destroying weapon. So it's like, what do you do? Like, I love the idea, I love Star Wars being thousands of different aliens and creeds and factions and beliefs and cultures and all of that stuff just being a melting pot of, like, crime and, I mean, even, like, luxurious-looking... like tropical worlds.
Yeah.
I love that all coming together, but obviously you need to have some sort of conflict, and you have these, like, the scum and villainy, and you have gangsters and bounty hunters and all that stuff, and that all works super well on a ground level. But then, like, where do you go with that on a movie scale? And obviously it turns into, well, like, how do you make a group of people fear, well, you have a big weapon. Okay, what does it do? Well, fuck it blows up planets. So you do that in the first movie, and then it's like, well, what do we do for the other 8 movies?
See, that's why I would have had as the main kind of plot device of the sequel series the fact that Palpatine, not necessarily that he's back, but that there is, like, either his ghost or something is trying to turn Ben Skywalker, not Solo, Ben Skywalker.
That would have been vastly superior. The fact that, like, Palpatine was being implied, but you never heard him, and it was never obvious.
Yeah, kind of like how Sauron was treated in Lord of the Rings. And he's trying to turn Ben to the dark side, and Ben is, he goes back and forth between over the course of the movies or whatever, but the Empire, which is still around, but they're in the position that the Rebels were, except they're taking it way to the extreme, and they've built essentially the Eclipse-class Super Star Destroyer, which in old canon was this massive fuck-off ship that had a miniature Death Star laser on it. It couldn't destroy a planet, but it could devastate a planet. So, like, it would, if it hit Earth, it would be able to, like, melt the ice caps and immediately flood the planet. That's what that ship could do. And, like, when you think about it from the point of view of an underground rebel movement, that ship makes a lot more sense to build than some big fuck-off planet Death Star thing, because it's a mobile platform, so it's hard to pin down, and you can use it as your main base of operations. So suddenly the New Republic is panicking because, oh fuck, there's a Star Destroyer out there that's hitting all of our planets and not destroying them outright, but killing millions of people or whatever. We got to put a stop to this, but they can't quite find it. It'd be like, there'd be like a cat and mouse chase as Ben has to try and figure out what side of the Force he's on, and like Darth and Anakin is what Obi-Wan is to Luke, Anakin is to Ben. And Anakin's trying his best to keep him on the side of the lake because he doesn't want him he doesn't want Ben to go down the same path he went down. And you can even bring Rey in and say, like, Rey is this agent of the Empire. She was like one of the Force sensitive kids that the Empire picked up, and now she's being viewed as like this. It's supposed to be this the new Palpatine, but or the new empress of the Empire, but she feels the call to the light, like, because the way that Rey was described to me is she is a Disney princess. She's a force-wielding Disney princess. So how cool would that be if, over the course of the narrative, her and Ben kind of come together and they're able to kind of help each other out? Like, I don't know. That's kind of what I would do. And where the original Star Wars films are like a science fiction fantasy, and the prequels are a science fiction war film, or at least that's how I would have done it. I would have made the sequels a science fiction spy series. How cool would that be? Gadgets and running around and fancy cars, and that would have been awesome. Put me in charge. I want a job, Kathleen Kennedy. I'll do it. I'll team up with Dave Filoni. I'll hang out with Bryce Dallas Howard and Jon Favreau.
I think that's where Star Wars thrives, and I think that's been made obvious with Mandalorian. It's not the high stakes, like, galaxy-ending plot that everyone cares about. It's the, Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah.
It's
and the reason the stakes work in episode 4, the big Death Star, it works there because it's like, oh shit, they're gonna blow up a planet where a bunch of our friends are. Like C-3PO and Leia are on that planet. Fuck, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, Luke needs to prove himself, and he's going up against Darth Vader and whatever. And like, and episode 5 has the most gripping narrative of all the Star Wars films. It doesn't feature a single super weapon. It's just, the reason it's gripping is because you're wondering, like, will Luke turn to the dark side, and is he going to lose this fight with Vader?
Yeah,
are his friends going to make it out of it?
Maybe that's why 5 is so good, because it's not about the end of everything. It's just like a very chaotic time and characters growing inside of that.
Yeah, and that's why, and I think that's why The Mandalorian is so good, because like you're seeing that as it goes on. Just it's, and also it helps that it's super genre fiction. Like so episode 5, minor spoiler alerts, is essentially like, I got Princess Mononoke vibes from it. You have the town that's destroying the planet, and then like there's a lone warrior out in the wilderness that's
it's very Western.
And like or samurai.
Very Western, very samurai.
And it's great. Like, that's awesome. I'm not gonna spoil who the warrior is, but it's good. It's a good episode. Definitely watch it if you haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it yet, Aaron?
I haven't seen the episode that came out today, but I saw the episode that came out last week.
The one with the character everybody was hoping was going to show up. Yeah.
The one with a very particular character that
that was such a good episode.
Made things awesome.
Fuck, that was such a good episode.
Yeah.
All the episodes this season have been great, except for arguably 2, and even 2 wasn't bad. It was just like, it was very clear, like, this is a little bit filler.
Yeah, I hope, my fear with Mandalorian now is that everything that they touch on is just like a nod, like, hey, this thing exists anyway, or hey, here's this plot line, remember this, remember when that was doing something anyway.
I suspect that what is going to be is they're laying the seeds for a future narrative. So they make a reference. So like in episode 4, for example, they meet up. The Mandalorian meets up with Bo-Katan and some other Mandalorians, and you figure out that she's trying to get the Darksaber back from Moff Gideon, because she wants to take over she wants to rule as Mandalore. To rule the Mandalorians, and it's interesting to me that they're setting those up, and I think that that's something that's going to be resolved later on in the show if the show is given enough time to develop. Like, I can see that being a major plot point.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. That's my fear, is that, like, particularly talking about Bo-Katan, like,
there was a character mentioned in episode 5 at the end.
Yeah, and it alludes to a lot of stuff. I just hope that is the narrative going forward. Like, season 3, we get all of that stuff. We get maybe like Sabine shows up, or maybe even Hera shows up from
I'd love
Rebels.
that.
Like, because that make total sense, because Sabine gave Bo-Katan the Darksaber to begin with.
Yeah.
it would be cool if they showed up and there was like a proper war for Mandalore again.
That'd be a really good plot for season 3, and then maybe for season 4 we can see that character that was mentioned in episode 5 at the end of the one that
and like I don't know, I haven't seen this week's episode, but it alludes to so much stuff, and they're obviously very open to making certain things canon. Or just introducing them to live action, like, for the first time, because there's so much good stuff even just in the animated shows, never mind the expanded universe, but there's a lot of stuff there that was kind of not fully tied up that you could absolutely do something with in probably one of my favorite time periods of Star Wars, like, not necessarily, and by that I mean, like, not prequels, not sequels, but, like, very much the original trilogy in aesthetic and appearance, because you have all that. Like, it just feels very Western, especially the way the Mandalorian presents it.
Yeah,
it's very slow. It's very dirty.
Yeah,
it's very just grim.
I mean, Christ, in the first episode, he's literally walking down the middle of like an old dirt settlement as people are kind of like looking out their windows, and he literally pushes open a door into a saloon. He goes into a saloon. Like, Jesus Christ, it's going to be more Western if you tried. And then it becomes, Tremors.
Yeah.
Which was great. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
Also, I read the most amazing thing the other day. It was, what if when Obi-Wan brings Luke into the cantina in Mos Eisley when they're looking for like a spaceship to take them to Alderaan? Instead of fucking running into Han Solo and Chewbacca, what if they ran into Hondo Akara? The guy's like, "Hey, Kenobi!" Kenobi's like, "Ah, fuck." Hey, my old friend. Yeah. I don't know why I'm giving him the Watto voice.
That's not far. The voice actor does that guy in, I guess, both Rebels and Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I fucking hate his voice. He's almost up there with Tom Kane for me. I mean, Hondo's not bad. He's an asshole and he's kind of annoying, but that's what the character is.
I mean, that is kind of what, like, the purpose of him is. He's supposed to be
I'm not massive on that guy's voice because it takes me back to, like, Animaniacs or something.
You don't like Animaniacs?
No, I don't know. It's just a very obnoxious show. And that guy's what else has he done? It was Animaniacs, but didn't they have their own show or something, like the black and white cat things? What were they?
Tom and Jerry?
No. There was I can't remember. There was the massive, like, buff dude, and they were like black with like white faces or something. Like cat things.
Sylvester the cat?
No, it wasn't Sylvester. It was
Felix the cat?
No, it definitely wasn't Felix. Anyway, I don't know what it was, but I'm nowhere near my car. Fuck. What are you? Oh, you're a robot. Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway, I'll throw up a picture if I can find it. But
you don't
anyway.
mean Freakazoid, do you?
No, I wasn't Freakazoid.
I understand.
I'm just naming 90s presidents. Like, you don't mean King of the Hill, do you?
Yeah, remember when Freakazoid did blackface?
I understand.
Blackface? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, blackface cartoon. The hit 90s show, Blackface. I don't remember what I was talking about. It's just an annoying voice.
Yeah.
Just grating.
You know who I want to see? They wrote him out of the show. He's not dead or anything, as far as I'm aware. What the fuck happened to Cad Bane? He was a cool character, and all of a sudden he just stopped being in the episodes.
Yeah, kind of another annoying voice.
You know, like Cad Bane? I'll tell you who the voice I hate. Fucking Zero the Hutt.
Oh, he's dog shit, and I'm so glad. Like, because when I went back and rewatched the show, I'm so glad that he's not in, like, much of the show.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I got to his character being introduced the first time I watched it, I'm like,
my name is Zero the Hutt.
I cannot watch this.
Hang on, that's
Dave
wrong.
Filoni, what are you doing to me?
I'm Zero the Hutt, and I'm here to kill Jabba's son.
Super grating, like Louisiana, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Accent. I mean, he takes up the bulk of the film, the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
And then he's in like half a season, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Like, thank God. Fucking useless character.
Yeah. Oh. And I definitely think, like, props to Dave. Like, the first season of Clone Wars is weak, in my opinion. It's a
kid show.
There's only one. I'd say there's only 3 good episodes in that, maybe 4.
If you watch them in order, it's a lot better.
It is.
And by order, I mean like chronological. Oh shit! You gotta Google the order, because the shows pretty well up to season 4 were not released. Even if like season 1, they're not in order.
Nope.
Oh, okay. It's cool. Screen turning off. Oh, now it's over here. What is going on?
Technical difficulties?
Yeah, technical difficulties.
All right.
What the fuck? Hey, technical difficulties. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, one of the HDMI cables decided to just stop working, so fucked our monitors all around. But what was I saying? 0.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the episodes are absolutely not in order at all.
No.
You gotta Google the order.
Yeah.
There's a number of there's a number of plots. It's not like you can just watch them the way they were released, season 1, 2, and 3. You have to go and find the order, because there are a number of like battles that happen over the course of like 5 episodes or 3 or 4 episodes, and they're completely out of sync in the official released order.
Yeah.
So it's.
But even to stand that, there's only like 2 or 3 episodes in season 1 that I actually like. But like it definitely becomes more.
They are still rough, but when you can actually follow some semblance of narrative rather than every episode being like a standalone nonsense thing.
Yeah.
It's much more palatable.
And like Dave Filoni, like he definitely got much stronger as it went on, and his skills as a story, as a story teller and a showrunner improved to the point where like the end of the Clone Wars, holy fuck!
Yeah,
season 7 of the Clone Wars was Jesus.
The last 4 episodes of Clone Wars were
some of the best Star Wars has ever been.
Completely another planet than, well, not only anything else in Clone Wars, but especially the beginning of the show. But
even the Bad Batch series of episodes were amazing. And even the stuff with Ahsoka wasn't too bad, although I definitely think it should have only been like 2 episodes as opposed to the 5 or whatever we got.
Yeah, I do think it was. It should. I would have done maybe something a little different with that, because some of the side characters in that arc were a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But it was nice to spend time with Ahsoka as a character, especially after like you're introduced to her and there's her arc and everything. Now that like you know where she is, and this is ultimately pretty much where her character finishes her arc, it's nice to be able to get some time inside of her head.
Yeah.
Because there's really not a lot of breathing room with her elsewhere in the show. And not only that, because she doesn't even show up in the previous. She's not even in season 6 really.
No.
Because season 6 was just like
we were kind of canceled, but we had a couple of these episodes done already.
Here's some stuff that was finished. We didn't really get to, and it's dumb because season 5 ends with such a great plot point of like Anakin and Ahsoka going their separate ways, and then it's like, oh well, whatever.
But that's definitely not Dave Filoni's fault. Like that
no, absolutely no.
Yeah, that's a. We were bought out by Disney, and for some reason they decided to axe this fucking show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it did make way for Rebels, and everyone came down so hard on Rebels, but Rebels is great.
Rebels is really good. Rebels is also some of the best of Star Wars.
I haven't seen Resistance yet. I haven't heard much from Resistance actually.
It's on my list, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the art style.
Yeah, it looks very cheap.
Yeah,
kind of.
I don't know if Dave Filoni is doing it.
I don't think so either. It's also based in the sequel movies, so it's not really starting out with strong material.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll clue this up before the computer explodes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This game looks fun.
It's not bad. Writing is a little jank, but you know. We were talking about Star Wars the whole time, so it fits right in.
Yeah, I'm glad we spent the whole time talking about a thing that's completely unrelated. We all got stirred when I mentioned Anakin in that one scene.
Hope everybody's enjoying the Cyberpunk.
This is a reason we have no subscribers.
Oh man! All right, well, enjoy Cyberpunk. We'll see you guys.
And may the Force be with you.
Yeah, I'll see you guys whenever we're back.
Yeah, whoosh.
Goodbye.
Terrible episode.